What's up guys, Birch here, and today the Dempsey Memories trailer released on Treyarch's channel. And usually, this isn't sort of my thing, but I kind of want to get into the realm of zombies and zombie series and stuff like that. So I'm just going to show you guys the trailer, I'm going to break it down, and I'll be back to talk to you about it after.
Field report. Final entry. Well, this is it. The end game. I know what I have to do. Richtofen's barely holding it together. I've got to believe he can go the extra mile. None of us really know how this is going to play out. But we all know it's the only way forward. We can only hope that our souls may find a better future.
So right off the bat, the first thing that you probably notice about this is that the tone of it is a lot different than the other three Memories trailers. If we look back at the other three, it's more just talking about like the past, and in this trailer you really see Dempsey is definitely more affected by him killing his former self than the other three. His ghost literally comes back to haunt him. But there are a couple things in this trailer that are really important. Alright, so right here we're back in Der Eisendrache, and we see the test subject chamber that the first Dempsey was put into in this universe. And we haven't seen any of the other characters in any of the other Memories trailers see their former selves, especially not like right before killing them. And the important thing about this is that a lot of people always assume Dempsey to be the kind of unfeeling, just badass killing machine marine that he was in World at War still, and it's not really the case, which is kind of nice because unlike all of the other deaths, we didn't get to interact with the 1.0 Dempsey at all. He was always in his chamber. He was never, there was no interaction between them. And I really think Dempsey feels legitimately guilty about having to do this to his former self, because we have to remember that none of us know what Richtofen's plan is at this point. He could just be killing him for absolutely no reason. So Dempsey, I think, is really haunted by killing his former self and everything that really means. Alright, this is probably my favorite shot out of this trailer and any other trailer for the Memories. It's just, we really get to see up close just the pure shock of how he felt back then when he realized that he had to actually kill his former self. And it's really raw emotion right here, and it's just, I love the way that Treyarch decided to put this simple scene in, and how much it really actually means, because if you look at his face, like, you can just tell it's like he's really guilty and haunted by having to do this, especially without knowing where Richtofen's leading them, or if he could be betraying them, and remembering all the good times that they had back in the day as just zombie killing badasses. And I think this is, if you really look at it, this is kind of a nod to the zombies community as a whole, because now the story is so serious and we're dealing with some serious issues here. But back in the day, it was just murder zombies, have fun, kill shit. A lot of us look back at that time and it's like, oh, it was so much better back then. And especially just being nostalgic in general, the Golden Past theory and idea. But, this is kind of Treyarch's subtle nod that, the past is the past, and even though we all have a problem letting that go, sometimes it's time, you have to kill it, and you have to put it behind you, and sometimes it's time to move on. Alright, here we have probably the most important part of the entire trailer, and we finally see the blood vials being looked at. And this is the first time that they've actually made a clear, direct allusion and reference to the fact that our characters do have these blood vials. And the blood vials are going to play a huge role in DLC 4 Revelations, and we really don't know anything about them. Neither do our characters. It's important to hear what Dempsey is talking about throughout the first part of this trailer. And he's talking about how they have no idea where they're going, and Richtofen is starting to lose control of the other two, Takio and Nikolai. And they're starting to not trust him again, especially with the introduction of Monty, and Monty telling them that Richtofen's already in the house, and Monty not talking to Richtofen. So they're starting to become another divide, which is what we saw in Black Ops 1, World at War, the timeline there with Moon. And Dempsey, it seems like here Dempsey is sort of on Richtofen's side, because whether they like it or not, Richtofen is the only one that has any sort of knowledge about what's been going on. And that's pretty important to Dempsey, because if we remember who this Dempsey is, he's a loyal soldier, he takes orders, he follows. He doesn't think for himself necessarily, he's that good soldier that'll do anything if he's ordered to do it. And even though Richtofen is not a soldier, he was never in the army in this storyline, he is still the ringleader that knows what they're doing, and Dempsey really wants to just follow that, and he's really hoping that Richtofen can keep it together to get them to where they're going, so that this finally has an end, whether it be bad or good. Alright, I know what I said earlier about the Dempsey's face being my favorite scene, but this is just an amazing scene. This is such a good trailer. There's so many good moments packed into a minute. It's really emotional, raw trailer. I love it. Alright, so here we see Dempsey literally being haunted by his 1.0 self and his ghost and his soul. And like I said earlier, Dempsey's really, really guilty about having to do this compared to the other two, because I think Dempsey really connects with his 1.0 self a lot more than the other two do. I mean, Nikolai gets shot by his 1.0 self, and Takio got handed the news that the Emperor betrayed him. So I think Dempsey really empathizes with his 1.0 self, and not even being able to say goodbye. And here we see him, like I said, literally being haunted by the ghost of his 1.0 self and the ghost of the past. And it's clear that he keeps coming back to this, and his 1.0 self keeps coming back to him, whether it physically be, like we saw in the summoning key, his soul go up to Maxis, or just like in dreams and emotionally coming back to him. And it's just a really incredible shot to finally see Dempsey 1.0 up and walking around, because like I said, we never saw, he was always in the chamber, and we just took him off his life support, which killed him. But this is just a really amazing shot, and Treyarch did a great job of giving us some sort of remastered look at the old Dempsey, and it looks incredible. The detail and how they look different, but yet it's clearly the same person. And like I said, this is just a great trailer. There's so much packed into just a minute. And yeah, let's get on to the last part. Alright, so here we have the last part, and it's nothing's crazy. It's just Dempsey sitting in the frozen forest like we've seen with the other three. And I'm going to have another theory video out this week talking about the connection between the frozen forest and what I think is coming in DLC 4 Revelations. And yeah, so look out for that. But I want to take this time to look at some of the more subtle aspects of the trailer. One thing I picked up on the first time I saw this was the music. If we listen to the music throughout the entire thing, you can very distinctly hear some of the Horizon Drac Easter egg cutscene music. Like just at different points when it seemed like Richtofen was betraying them, when he actually had to finally kill him. There's some intermingled stuff that's probably from the campaign. It's just like dramatic cinematic music. The music really added to the emotion of this video. Like I said, it's probably the most emotional Memories video we have so far. And if we look at the other Memories videos, they're not very, like, music doesn't play a huge part. Like, I know Nikolai had it in his, they all had it, but the timing of the music in this one was a lot different, and it was a lot more intentional. It wasn't just there as a backdrop, it was there to provide some sort of statement. I mean, I have my own statements, but this video is kind of long, so I'll leave you to get your own interpretations of the statements. Another thing I wanted to talk about briefly was the fact that Dempsey says at the beginning, field report, final entry. Now, in the Giant, he was making several field reports to what we assume to be whoever sent him to the Giant, to stop Richtofen from disrupting the time. But in Grod Krovi, from Monty, we realized that nobody's listening. This is kind of like Takio's real revelation that the Emperor betrayed him. And it's really important to realize that Dempsey's entire world has been flipped on its head. I mean, he's the loyal soldier that just takes orders, and he realizes that he doesn't have anyone giving him the orders. He's just doing it for himself at this point. And the fact that it says final entry means that he's finally realized that. And again, it's the time with the theme of moving on, accepting the past, and finding a new self. I think that's really the core idea of this Memories trailer and Dempsey throughout the entirety of Black Ops 3. Is that he's leaving old self behind and trying to find a new path forward that doesn't involve just following. And taking orders, so he's trying to think for himself now. And the last thing I want to talk about is the fact that Dempsey, I think that this script, like, not monologue, I think that this whole dialogue that's going on here is from DLC 4 Revelations, like it's in there somewhere. Because if we think about it, all of these Memories trailers have talked about endings, especially this one. Dempsey says that it's the end. It seems like sort of, not a suicide note, but almost like he realizes that things are coming to an end and there's nothing he can do to change it, and he wants to just give one last thing. So if these Memories trailers quotes showed up again in DLC 4, I would not be surprised in the least. But yeah, so he talks about endings a lot, and it just makes it sound like this is coming after the final wrap-up of DLC 4. And I hope that we see these come back again and end at the end of Revelations, and I think they will.
2 to the 1, from the 1 to the 3. I like good pussy and I like good trees. Smoke so much weed you wouldn't believe, and I get more ass than a toilet seat.
But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the breakdown today. I really wanted to make this video because I love zombies, I love the theories, and when I was talking to my friends about this, a lot of them didn't even know that these trailers existed. And I've always been into the zombie storyline. I've always been one to dig through mountains of Wikipedia pages to find as much information as possible. So I wanted to make this breakdown video because I really enjoyed this trailer. I thought it was one of their best ones, and I'm going to have some more zombies theories coming out soon, along with other things. I'm just trying to find to see what sticks, see what works, see what I like to do. That's why I'm kind of all over the place right now, but if you guys like this sort of thing, want to see more, leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Hope you guys are having a great day, and I will see you in the next video.
The mark of sadness from my face. Show me that your love will never change. If my yesterdays are disgrace, tell me that you still call me. Like the mark of sadness from my face. Show me that your love will never change.
Which we never saw because he was